Hey guys, Chris here. Just over a week ago, I dropped a video of what I believe is the brand new Volvo XC90 based on design patented photos filed by Volvo. But a lot of you people disagreed with me in the comment section of that video. You didn't believe that this was the brand new Volvo XC90, but rather a facelifted version of the current generation. So in this video, we're going to dive deep into detail of those photos and bring you a whole bunch of new photos and talk about why it's most certainly not a facelifted version of the current generation Volvo XC90. And I actually don't think it is the brand new Volvo XC90 either. So watch till the end to find out what the heck I'm talking about. But quickly, before we do that, I just want to give a huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Zaptec, with their Zaptec Go home charger. The Zaptec Go is a cool, small, and stylish home charger that can charge up to 11 kilowatts on AC charging. So if you want to buy a charger, go to one of the links in the description box down below. So scroll down to your country, click the link to that vendor, and if you live in Norway, you can actually use the discount code ZAPRIFA to get 10% off the purchase of a Zaptec Go home charger. We're going to start this video with why I most definitely think this is not a facelift of the current generation Volvo XC90, and we're going to go through all the photos. So starting off with the front 3/4 view of this car, you can see this has a blanked out grille, and what that means is this is a fully electric version. And we know from, what Volvo have said earlier is that it's not possible to build a fully electric version of any car on the SPA1 platform. This is the platform that underpins the XC90, the XC60, V90 S90, and XV90 Cross Country, and also the Polestar 1. So these cars have had, started with a 9.5 kilowatt hour battery pack for the hybrid versions, and I think it's up to now 11.5 or 12, maybe 13.5. I haven't followed, the hybrid powertrain of that car lately, but I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 14. And then in the Polestar 1, it has a 38 kilowatt hour battery pack, if I'm not mistaken. So very far off the 111 kilowatt hour battery pack that I think this car is going to have based on what we have of information of the Polestar 3 that should be on the same platform of this car. So, I mean, either way, having this front end blanked out, this has to be a new platform. This has to be a car on a new platform, nothing on the current generation SPA1 platform. And then we can move over to the hood. So, the bumper design can be new with a facelift. The front fenders can be new. Even the front hood can be new. But what you have here is a very different shut line because this has a clamshell hood. And I have never seen a facelift version of any car go from non-clamshell to clamshell or clamshell to non-clamshell. That just seems to be a very expensive thing to do, design-wise, doing a big change like that, just changing where the latches are, and just, overall a very big design. If this is a facelifted version, this is the biggest redo of a front end of any car I know about. I mean, hit me up out there, in the comment section down below if you know of a facelift that has a bigger difference in, it's similar in design because this is the design language, but brand new panels, brand new hood that, closes and shuts in a completely different place than this front end. But I think, the real nail in the coffin to why this is not a facelift is the greenhouse. So on the current generation Volvo XC90, the window kicks up past the D pillar. It has that kink where it kicks up. Here, it kicks, past the C pillar, so past the back doors. Here, it kicks up behind the front door and before the C pillar. That means a whole new greenhouse on this side, and that also means a brand new rear 3/4 panel. And again, I have never seen a facelift of any car where they actually change the greenhouse, the glass area. That's why I think this is a brand new design. Yes, I do agree, guys. It is very similar to the current generation Volvo XC90, but look at the past 5 generations of Range Rover. Very small design changes all the way. Especially the current one, the brand new one, to the last one. It's very hard to see a difference, and also in the Range Rover Sport. But manufacturers know that when they have a winning design that is so recognizable, like Volvo have with the current generation Volvo XC90, Why would you change it too much? That just does not make sense. So yes, it is similar, and you may be disappointed or not about that. And let me know down below if you're disappointed and why you're disappointed. That is totally fine. I mean, I'm disappointed about designs all the time, but I just think this is the right move and correct move of Volvo to not change the design too much. So yes, it looks similar, but because they, did that intentionally. You also have the mirrors. I mean, that's the thing where it has the same type of mirrors as you have on a Polestar 2. You could easily, retrofit that to a current generation Volvo XC90. But what would be harder is, the actual door profile. And again, you can see how it kicks down there on the lower part of the side skirts on the door, or the middle section is completely different to the current generation Volvo XC90. So if this is a facelift, it not only has brand new sheet metal across the whole car, it actually has a brand new greenhouse. And I have never ever seen that in a facelift. You've seen that from generation to generation, even on the same platform of car, but we've never ever seen that on just a facelift. And you also have the flush door handles that supposedly, I don't know if they pop out, or are they kind of like Volkswagen ID3 and ID4, where you just grab them behind the door handle, where you just put your hand up. I'm not sure. If we go over to the rear design also, I think this is quite telling, where you have a brand new, the light bar usually went from the roof and then down to the bumper. Now that is completely separated. Again, that the rear 3/4 is completely new here, and also the deck. Everything is new. And this has, more of a similar design, that clamshell rear taillight to to the Volvo C40 and also the Polestar 2. Though it's not, connected, it's separated here compared to the Polestar 2, where it does wrap around. So I just think this is a brand new car based on those things. And also we have the interior. We have interior photos here. The dashboard looks to be quite new, or completely new, though the center screen disappointingly looks kind of small. I hope they make that bigger. But you also have a brand new center console here, and we don't know if this is the front or the rear, but I'm guessing this is the front. And if you look at this, guys, it has a floating design where it's completely open down to the floor almost, where you have these doors like modern electric cars. And if this was the current generation Volvo XC90 on the SPA1 platform, we know that that is filled with batteries. If you just look at, the XC90 non-hybrid and hybrid, the center storage is laughable in the hybrid version compared to actually quite usable space in the non-hybrid version. That is because of the battery pack. This, just defies that. This is most definitely not anything on a SPA1 platform. You also have new dashboard design, as I showed you guys here. Here we can see that center console again, and I believe this is between the front and second row. And then we also have a brand new steering wheel design. We've seen new steering wheel designs between facelifts, so this is not an indicator of whether it's a facelift or not. But this is a quite cool design, though it does look like it has capacitive buttons, which I'm not a fan of. But I do like the wheel design. I hope this gets a airbag cover in leather. And then you have a camera here. I don't know what this camera is. Are these replaceable? I mean, are these like optional camera wing mirrors? I don't know, maybe. And then you have the roof. I mean, it looks quite similar. And then we have the seats. These look to be very similar. And again, we've seen, new seats between facelifts and not facelifts. We also have a new tweeter for the Bowers & Wilkins sound system with a brand new design. This looks pretty cool. This looks like it's more floating than what we have had before. We also have brand new doors, door inserts. And again, usually a facelift brings only design changes to the exterior and not the interior. We have seen, completely new dashboards, like current generation Audi Q7 between a facelift, where it had a brand new dashboard, but that was basically lifted out of the Audi Q8, but the door cards remain the same. But it looks very similar, but it looks like to be a modern and updated design. I really like this, the way they've been doing this. It looks really cool. And then we have a few renders here of that. I'm going to credit this to EV Drive X, a Facebook group where I was linked all of these photos. We have this, a white one, which it looks like to be just a where they've used the silhouette of the current generation Volvo XC90 and just, you know, overlaid the design, and it looks very similar, but you can most definitely see this is a completely brand new design. And I mean, when the current generation Volvo XC90 came out, people thought it was so similar to the first generation, and it was, but again, that was intentional. But looking at those two now back to back, you can clearly see how different the current generation is to the first generation, and I think that's what we're going to see here with this. But I talked about this being not a current generation, just a facelift of the current generation, and I think, you know, it is pretty conclusive that it is brand new, complete new body panels and a new greenhouse. I mean, come on, guys. Let me know if I'm mistaken here, but I've, you know, been following the car world for, I don't know, 30 years, probably more than 30 years, and I have never seen a facelift that has done all of those things. I've seen a facelift where they've, you know, not a facelift, but a new generation on a current generation platform, like the first and second generation Bentley Continental GT on the same platform. I mean, it was a heavy revised car, but that was never talked about as a facelift. That was a completely brand new car with even new engines and stuff. So, I mean, let me know if there is a facelift where they not only did all the sheet metal, but also the greenhouse. Let me know down below. But I actually don't think this is the new Volvo XC90 either, because if we look at these cars in profile, you can clearly see that this car has longer front overhangs, just a little, than the current generation, but the rear overhangs are much larger than the current generation Volvo XC90, and also the wheelbase looks to be longer. So there are two questions here. Is this the new generation Volvo XC90, but they've just made it bigger? You know, it's 4.95 meters long. Maybe they made it 5.2, 5.3 here. Or is this what they've been talking about and calling the Volvo XC100 for a long time? But instead of calling it the XC100, they're going to call it the Volvo EXC90. So Volvo XC90, a brand new version, and then an EXC90. E for extended. I don't know. We've seen cars with EWB, extended wheelbase. This is what, you know, Rolls-Royce and Bentley call their long wheelbase cars, EWB, extended wheelbase cars. So this may be an extended XC90. So again, the actual XC90 may be completely similar to this, but this may be the bigger brother. And why would they, you know, patent or trademark the name EXC90 and replace the XC90 with it? I mean, think about it. If they're not going to do this, you know, whole Embla and change, you know, the way they name the cars from alphanumeric to names, why would they not just call it the XC90? It's such a recognizable nameplate. They've been making XC90s for more than 20 years, and you, your grandmother, your sister, and your brother, everybody knows what a Volvo XC90 is. It's one of the most recognized large SUV nameplates in the world. So why would they just change it up and put an E in front of it unless the E means something else? I mean, really think about this, guys. New generation Volvo XC90, they're going to call it the XC90. It makes a lot of sense. And then they're going to call the old XC90 the Classic, as they did with the last few years of the first generation. They're just going to call that the Classic XC90. We're going to have the new XC90. And then instead of having an XC100, we're going to have an EXC90. That is why I think this looks bigger in profile than when we know there's going to be a large Volvo above the XC90. So, I mean, this makes a lot of sense to do it this way, XC90 and EXC90. So I actually think, guys, this is the XC100, whatever you want to call it. I think this is the new model that's going to be bigger than the current generation Volvo and the new generation Volvo XC90. So let me know what you think down below. Do you agree with me, guys, or do you think I'm just completely on a wild path with this hypothesis? So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.